Paper Crafters Library. In this video I'm going to show you how to create this Peace and Joy greeting card. So let's get started. You're going to need a 4 1/4 by 11 inch piece of Riding Hood red cardstock that I've gone ahead and scored down the center with my scoring blade and paper trimmer at 5.5 inches. You're going to fold and crease along that score line with your bone folder, creating a standard size 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch card. Once you have this complete, you're going to set this aside for a moment, and you're now going to need a piece of vanilla cardstock, and I'm using Very Vanilla. And this piece measures 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. You're going to need to take a pencil and a ruler. You're going to measure up 5/8 of an inch from the bottom edge. And you're just going to draw a light pencil line there. This is going to be your guide in order to stamp your greeting. So you can set aside your pencil and ruler, and you're now going to need parts of the stamp set Peace, Love, and Joy from Paper Tray. I'm going to be using the Peace and Joy, Wishing You, the and symbol, and the This Holiday Season section of this stamp set. They all come in different pieces, so I've already placed them onto my blocks. And for the Peace and Joy, I just placed them like this, and I'm going to ink them up separately, and I left the space in between here for the and symbol. It just would be easier for me to stamp them individually. So if you want to stamp the Peace and then the Joy, that's fine. I'm just going to ink them up separately on my ink pad and then stamp them at one time. So at this time, you're going to need Riding Hood Red Classic ink, as well as Wild Wasabi Classic ink. You're going to stamp up the Joy portion of the greeting with the Wild Wasabi, and the Peace section of the greeting with the Riding Hood Red. Once you have them completely inked up, then you're going to stamp them on to your vanilla cardstock using the line as the placement for it. So you want these to sit just above that line. So go ahead and then stamp that just above that line, centering it left and right. So once you've stamped that portion of your greeting, you're then going to need some Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm going to now stamp the remainder of my greeting. So I'm going to ink up the and symbol, and I'm going to stamp that centered in between my two previously stamped greetings. And then I'm going to stamp the Wishing You in the top left-hand corner of my greeting here. And then the This Holiday Season centered below the Peace and Joy. And once that is all dry, then you will erase your pencil line. Now you can set aside your Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and you're just going to let this sit for a moment. You're going to set that aside. Once that's all dry, I will erase my pencil line. Now you're going to need a scrap piece of Very Vanilla cardstock. And you're going to need 2 images found in the Heart to Heart stamp set from Paper Tray. These are supposed to be balloons, but I'm going to use them as Christmas ornaments. So I'm going to stamp 2 of my ornaments that have the stitched pattern on it. I'm going to create 2 3-dimensional ornaments out of this. So I'm going to need 4 red ornaments and 2 green ornaments stamped with this balloon or ornament. And then my middle ornament will be created with 2 green ornaments and 2 red ornaments stamped out of this balloon. This is with the loopy design through the middle. So you're going to stamp this. The red will be used, the Riding Hood Red, and the green will be the Wild Wasabi. Make sure that you clean your stamps in between each inking when you change your ink color. So I'm going to stamp one in my Riding Hood Red in this one. Just going to use a baby wipe to wipe this off, making sure that my stamp is clean. Now I'm going to stamp 2 in green, and again I am using Wild Wasabi. And now I'm finished with this ornament. My next one will be stamping 2 of my green stitched, or my Wild Wasabi stitched ornaments, and 4 of my Riding Hood Red. So again, I need to clean my image before I re-ink that in a different color. So I need 4 of these in my Riding Hood Red. And then you're going to die cut these, and this stamp comes with a coordinating die. This is the Heart to Heart stamp set. So it comes with a coordinating die. So like I said, originally it is supposed to be used as a balloon, but I'm going to die cut these and use these as my ornaments. So you can set aside your inks as you no longer need those. And now I'm going to place my die over each of my stamped images and die cut all of my ornament pieces with my Big Shot. So you'll have to do this individually, run this through the Big Shot each time, individually die cutting each ornament. So off to my Big Shot. So now I'm back from my Big Shot and I've die cut all of my ornaments. Now what you're going to do is fold them in half with the stamped colored portion to the inside. So you're just folding these in half, making sure that it is halfway, because you will be adding in other pieces to this. So you want to make sure that you get the topper completely folded in half. So you're going to continue that with all 9 pieces. So just continue to fold these, creasing along that fold line. You can use your bone folder if you wish. Folding each of these ornament pieces in half. Once you have them in half, you are going to need some double-sided adhesive. And we're going to stick them together so that they pop up and create that 3-dimensional ornament. So you're going to need three ornaments that are all stamped in the same pattern, but you're going to alternate your outer ornaments, which are the stitched ornaments, these ornaments. You're going to need 2 red ones and 1 green one for each ornament, and then your center ornament will be 2 green and 1 red of those loopy designs. So I'm going to create my center one first, and all you're going to do is run some double-sided adhesive along your red center one, 1/2, sticking the 2 sides together. So I'm sticking a green ornament to the left hand side of my red ornament. So you can see here I have my green stuck to my red, and now I'm taking the right hand side of my red ornament, applying some more double-sided adhesive and sticking my remaining green one on there. So it will alternate red, green, red, and when you stick them down you get this dimensional look in a fan shape. So you're going to repeat that, creating your 3 ornament pieces. So like I said, these ones will alternate red, green, red. And then once you have your ornaments all created, then we're going to set those aside, and you're going to need a piece of Wild Wasabi cardstock that measures 1 1/8 by 5 1/8. So now I have my 3 ornaments created, and I'm just going to set these aside for a moment. I'm going to take my piece of Wild Wasabi cardstock that measures 1 1/8 by 5 1/8, and I'm going to punch along one of the 5 1/8 sides using my open scalloped edger punch, and this is from EK Success, and I'm just going to scallop along one side. Once you have that scalloped, you can set aside your punch and your scraps. And you're now going to need a piece of designer paper that measures 3/4 of an inch by 5 1/8 inches. You're going to stick this to your scalloped piece of wild wasabi, leaving equal borders on the top and bottom of your designer paper. And this pattern of designer paper comes from my 6 by 6 inch paper pad, and this is the Christmas This and That from Echo Park. So you're going to take this scalloped piece of matted designer paper, and you're now going to need a 6.5 inch piece of ribbon. And here I am using the New Leaf top notch twill tape, and this is 3/8 of an inch. And I'm going to lay this across my matted designer paper there, wrapping the ends around to the back and sticking them down with my double-sided adhesive. So once you have these all created, these are most of our elements, you're going to take a 12-inch piece of the same New Leaf top notch twill tape, and you're going to tie this into a bow. Again, I usually create just 2 loops, tying the loops into a knot, and that generally gives me a fairly nice bow. And I'm just going to take my hot glue gun, and I'm going to add a touch of hot glue to the back of the knot. I'm going to stick this down to the right hand side of my ribbon on my matted designer paper here, and I will trim off my ends once they are attached to my card base. So now that we have a lot of our elements created, we're going to bring our card base back in, as well as our stamped greeting piece. At this time, you could take an eraser and erase the line underneath your Peace and Joy.